Hello viewers, welcome to our program on Immigration and You. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we are with us attorney David Nachman, my partner. David, welcome.
Thanks so much, Michael. Always a pleasure to be
Thank
here
you.
with you.
And let us start our today's program with the cutoff dates for the month of June 2014. In the family preference categories, the first preference, which are the unmarried sons and daughters over the age of 21 of US citizens, it advances by 2 weeks to March 22nd, 2007. The family 2A category, which are the spouses and unmarried children under the age of 21 of green card holders, it's a bad news. The cutoff dates go back to 1 year and 13 weeks to May 1st, 2012. Now, the reason for that is that some time ago, when the delay used to be 3-4 years, they started moving very fast. And they came almost September 2013 for several months. With the result that the demand, David, became very big and they couldn't accommodate all those people. So they had to go back because they couldn't, a lot of people had cutoff dates of September of 2013 or earlier.
Exactly.
So that was the reason. So it happens. Let me finish this. Then David can tell you a little more about why sometimes they retrogress.
Well, I think that, Michael, it's a good time to just mention
Okay, let's
that
go.
based on the way the numbers work is that, and we've explained this to our viewers, that it's based on supply and demand.
Exactly.
And that if there is a need to make more visas available, that more adjustment applications are being put in, that causes the retrogression. Yeah. And so that's what we're seeing is that there are more visas available. Individuals are taking up those visas, and therefore you go into retrogression, unfortunately.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, F2B category, which are the unmarried sons and daughters of green card holders over the age of 21, advances by 8 weeks to April 1, 2007. This is a kind of little bit of good news, 8 weeks. This category has been moving slowly, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. 8 weeks is a good news. April 1, 2007. The family third preference, which are the married sons and daughters of US citizens, advances by 4 weeks to October 1st, 2003. And the family fourth preference, which are the brothers and sisters of US citizens, unfortunately advances only by 1 week to December 15, 2001. Now the employment categories, first of all, a small comment on the brother-sisters category. A lot of people are waiting. And if it only advances 1 week, it's not a good news. But I would say your theory is still the same. Why? Same, demand and supply?
Supply and demand, of course, but the demand obviously is tremendous, and it's also it's a very slow-moving classification for, it's traditionally been a slow-moving classification.
But I understand. Sometimes even we get surprised. All of a sudden it moves 8 weeks.
Right.
And then goes back up to 1 week.
Right.
I think we are talking about Charlie Oppenheimer, who is the guy in the Department of State who makes a determination. And he makes the determination based upon what is the demand coming from the American consulates, what is the demand coming from USCIS, and then he looks at the numbers and makes an intelligent decision, I would say.
Exactly.
That's the best I can explain.
Exactly. Well, I think that a lot of the individuals who are in this particular classification, at least when they approach our office or your office, what they're doing is they're really looking for alternative methodologies to short circuit this very, very long wait time. So what we generally do is we'll say the best thing to do is to provide us with a most recent copy of the individual's resume. Let us take a look at that and let's see whether there's an EB classification that that we can use to get the individual here, at least to fill as much of that possible 13-year gap that they might have as we possibly can.
Okay, let's continue with the employment preference categories. The first preference, which is for extraordinary ability people and some L1 type of people, is current for all the countries, including India. The employment second preference, which is for the advanced degree holders, is current for most of the world except India. And India, there's no movement at all. It is stuck at November 15, 2004, which is the bad news. And going forward is also a bad news that don't think that this category is going to move any faster. Looks like it's stuck.
I believe that we had announced last time, or one of our previous shows, that Charles Oppenheimer had indicated that this was going to remain flat probably through September or the beginning of the new fiscal year.
That is October onwards.
October 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
The employment third preference, which are the professionals and skilled workers, bad news for bad news for all other countries. All other countries are almost current, close to. But now this month they are going back by 1 year and 20 weeks to April 1, 2011. Now, when we say all other countries, this doesn't include India. India has much more backlog than even this. All other countries include many countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Afghanistan, many other countries. There are only few countries that they have a problem about retrogression or not moving forward. And India is, I think, India and China probably are the two countries that. Okay, so India, employment third preference does move 2 weeks only, and it's only October 15, 2003. What does that mean? Those are our people who are still waiting in the line, who applied for this in 2004, 2005.
Exactly.
Maybe looking at another 10 years? Because this category also, as we discuss about EB2, the prediction is that it is also going to move very slowly. And this is a bad news for many of the people waiting in the EB3 category.
Exactly.
Indians.
Right.
All right. Then we go to the other workers categories, which is more or less like the employment third preference categories, same thing. The retrogression takes place 1 year, 20 weeks for most of the countries, which is April 1, 2011. For India, moves up 2 weeks to October 15, 2003. The fourth preference, special immigrants, which include religious workers and priests and all that, is current for all the countries, and so are the investors of $1 million or $500,000. EB5 category is current for all the countries.
Exactly.
So this is the pictures with regard to the cutoff dates. And hopefully, going forward in a few weeks, we will bring to you July cutoff dates. But as we discussed, don't expect too many advanced movements, especially in the employment categories. Therefore, what David Gave suggested that you should really sit down with your lawyer or consult somebody to what can be done. There are always some options available in some cases. Giving an example, that the people are waiting in the line and the kid is graduate, or the person that you are applying, your brother, sister is a graduate, is a college degrees in IT, in any other field. We can explore other possibilities like an L1 visa, like an H1 visa, and something else that may happen.
Exactly. The non-immigrant visa classifications offer options.
So even that will continue. The interesting thing is that will continue. Unlike the marriage cases, like a family cases, a person gets married and then comes here, that we get cancelled, that petition. In these categories of employment, they are in the line, but they get a non-immigrant visa like a HRL, for example. They can come, they can still get a visa, even if the immigrant visa petition has been filed, and they are in the line. Not only that, that will continue. By your getting the H1L visa coming here, that is continuing. So whenever that becomes available, at least an H1 visa person can come and keep on extending for long periods of time. In between, this category becomes available that he has already filed. So there are many options like that they should consider.
Right. And one of the things which we always mention is the possibility that you can take advantage of probably advancing your priority dates if you're married to an individual who's not from India. We always talk about cross-chargeability. That's one thing to bear in mind. And the other thing that we also want to let everyone know, actually this week we seem to have gotten a tremendous number of questions about EB1 classification. So we're getting individuals who have their EB2s filed and have now added to their EB2 cases in such a way that they have additional publications, they have additional notoriety, and they possibly have a way to bump those EB2 classifications up to EB1. And of course, if they're able to do that, then they can take advantage of immediate priority dates. Now, obviously, that's not for everyone. But for example, I'm going to give you an example of someone else who called this week, and surprisingly, because they consulted with with a lawyer, then they're able to advance their case. We had an individual who had filed a brother-sister application in the family fourth preference category. And just as an aside, I think that Michael and I want to bring to your attention that potentially under the comprehensive immigration reform, if that happens, the family fourth preference may be eliminated altogether. Obviously, with such an extreme backlog, you can see why they possibly are talking about eliminating it. But this is an opportunity to take advantage of that classification if you can. So this individual called me and said that their brother had applied in the family fourth preference. He was waiting, obviously, at home. In the family fourth preference, time was ticking away. But then we said, well, what's your brother do? And they said, well, he went to the university, he's been doing some research, and I said, well, why don't you get me a resume? So they brought me a resume, and in addition to the fact that the resume was actually an excellent resume for what we consider to be an outstanding researcher or professor case, it also turned out that the individual who came to us on this side, the brother on this side, said that he had a connection with an academic institution that might be interested in offering a job to his brother. So here you had an opportunity to bump the individual from the family fourth preference into a first preference classification.
And another option is that if the family is a lot of money, and I tell you an interesting case where somebody came in with kind of simple clothes, like a person who probably doesn't have any money, hardly he might have made our consultation fee kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I didn't say nothing about that, the options were not there. All of a sudden, I just, by the way, some people that could invest $500,000 in a regional center may qualify for a green card, and the whole process takes about 18 months to 2 years maximum.
Exactly, and you can see that the priority dates are current for that.
So, and he said, well, I have about 10 acres of land in Gujarat. Now, today, even 1 acre probably maybe $1 million or $500,000. So he said, okay, maybe I'll sell 10 or 12 acres and raise the money. So I'm saying, sometimes we don't realize, we think, how can this person, basically have $1 million, $500,000, doesn't make sense. One last question that I have.
Absolutely an option.
Yeah, it's a good option for those people who can do that. There's a lot of calls coming from our clients on H-4 employment. Now, what my understanding is, and you correct me, that there is a proposal, was a proposal, still is a proposal, and I'll tell you what happened to that those people who H1 is a person that is getting H1 visa working, and his wife or his spouse is getting H4 dependent visa, right? But they are not permitted to work. H4, They are not permitted to work. L2 is permitted to work.
That's correct. And
E2 is permitted to work.
Correct.
What's so different? I mean, what's so different about H4 wife sitting at home and not working? They need also money, they got kids, they need support, and she's qualified, she wants to. So they understood that administratively, and there's a proposal that was made to Secretary of Homeland Security to look into this.
Right.
I think those are the people who have a labor certification file and I-140 approved, and they are still waiting in the line. And based upon that, but that proposal has been put on hold by President Obama.
No, that has not been put on hold. This, as far as we know,
recently I'm telling you, proposal is not in effect yet. It's not in effect. They put on hold until August of 2014. This and several other things. For the reason that, for some reason, President Obama thinks that in the next 2 months he may be able to persuade Republicans to pass CIR, taking these steps forward now may come in the way. So we'll talk more about this in the next program.
Maybe what we'll do is address this when we come back, because that's a very big issue that we also are receiving a lot of queries about.
So thank you very much for watching the program. If you have any questions, comments, and suggestions, please send it to us. We'll be more than happy to respond. And David, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Michael. Pleasure.
Bye.